Beast. Yo, it's Beast, and we're officially a few weeks out from the release of Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and the game is peak. We were given a DLC roadmap graphic, and something I noticed was it specified 3 patches, patch 1, 2, and 3. Traditionally, a patch means you're going to update the game, either fixing bugs, doing balance changes, maybe even revamping or adding in new features. So I'd love to talk about what I would want to see in this first patch. I'm going to do my best not to relitigate anything I've talked about in my previous videos, and just stick to things that I think are important or are feasible. But let's get into it. Silver, for some reason, has some really smooth trick animations, and he's the only person in the game who has that. His mug just like it eases in out differently. Like when they first showed off the Silver gameplay, everybody's like, oh, they fixed the trick system. But in reality, it was only fixed for Silver. I don't think that was intentional, so I think they need that fixed. I know that some people have had issues with losing their save files, and there's one bug where you can get negative tickets. It seems to happen if you spend all of your tickets in Friendship and then go into a Grand Prix immediately, and then it resets after. I don't know if this specifically is just Steam Deck only issues, but split screen does not work for me. I can use my controllers individually when I do 1 player, but as soon as I try to go to 2 player, just nothing happened, which is a huge bummer. If you're PC, let me know if split screen has worked for y'all. I think other things that need fine tuning are the sound effects. They are extremely loud in the bass settings. I personally have my settings for 90 voice, 85 music, and 70 sound effects. If you listen to anybody's vanilla gameplay, they are just so overwhelmingly loud. Now let's talk about Race Park. I think Race Park is really cool, but the randomization in this game is kind of funky. If you put on random stages, you will get like the same ones over and over. I've had this happen sometimes with the Jukebox as well. Like one time I was playing, I had it on 12 stages. I was just getting Chow Park, Dino Jungle, Rainbow Garden. I was getting them over and over. I was just so confused. I have like 25 songs in my favorite playlist in the Jukebox, and there are some days where it's like, I swear I'm listening to the same mess over and over. Now let's go into some of the additions that I would like in this game. Sticking with Race Park, I think it would be really nice if we had a Grand Prix option for Race Park. What I mean is, I wish that we could do like an entire cup of the tap game mode, for example. I say this because if you're trying to unlock the carts and such, custom mode does not count towards your progression. Therefore, every single time you do a race in Race Park, it literally brings you back to the menu again, and you just have to keep pressing stuff over and over. I think Race Park and that whole progression was a really good idea. It just needed a bit more structure. Like for example, the Team Zeddy, they were like the power vehicles, right? It would have been nice if like for them specifically, you had to do the item team race thing. And like you had to do that 3 times. And then you had to do, the ring collection one for this team, etc, etc. I mean, I completed it already. I'm fine with I was just picking random ones, essentially. I think it's just annoying going back to that menu over and over again. But we're done talking about Race Park. Actually, I take that back. Another thing I would like added is the DLC characters to show up in Race Park and in Grand Prix races. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's only the base characters who come up as opponents in these races. I understand if they don't come up as rivals, okay, that makes sense. But it sucks that I don't get to see them on the track. There's already mods that actually fix this issue, so it'd be cool if my console users could have that same experience too. Now I'm really done about Race Park. I want to talk about lobbies for a second. I think they implemented it pretty well, but similar to Race Park, I really wish you could do cups with the crew. It's so annoying having to pick the race every single time. Another thing I don't like is that, let's say if y'all are doing Race Park stuff, the only person who will progress is the host of the lobby. I think that should be fixed, but my main fix for the lobby, the absolute most important thing, is please bring 200cc to lobbies. That is just unbelievable that it's not a feature. It already kind of sucks that 200cc isn't in the main online lobbies. Honestly, it'd be really cool if, just like how we have festivals for these Race Park game modes, if we had like 200cc festival type modes, or like it's a weekend and it's 200cc weekend, or where when you pick tracks it says if it's 150cc or if it's 200cc. I'm saying 200cc, but it's called Supersonic Speed mode, my bad. But I need that heavy, because so far I've only really experienced Supersonic Speed just against computers and in time trials. I really wish that Supersonic was playable online. Like, just nerf him. I think it's cool that Supersonic is invincible, right? Okay, I love that, awesome. But nah, outside of Grand Prix, they should have Supersonic nerf so fools can actually play with the mug. When it comes to online stability, I've seen a big improvement from the online network test. During that test, me, Safari Kid, J Blast, Lord Spears, we would get disconnected like every 2-3 races. But since the game released, I've been in lobbies and I played with the boy J Blast, and I've yet to really ever be disconnected. It might have happened one time, but we played for like 3 hours, and besides that there were no issues. So props to Sonic Team for that. I think they also spoke about how implementing crossplay was the hardest thing that they've ever undertaken in a game before. So I actually give them mad props. But now let's go into the heavy hitters of this conversation. 3 more topics: festivals, jukebox, and balance. The festivals are fun. I have no issues with them. Personally, I don't really care that much if for a whole weekend I can only do festivals. But at the end of the day, I think player choice is more important. We saw what them fools did to Mario Kart World with them intermissions. Just please give these players a choice, just so we can stop hearing all this crying. Make everybody happy. Now let's go into the jukebox, the main reason why I actually made this video. I was extremely excited to hear about the jukebox, but I believe the implementation was very half-baked. You only have one favorites folder or one favorites playlist, and it's the only folder you can add songs to. And so your choice is for each lap is either to put all your favorite songs into one folder and then just put that for every lap, so it's just random songs playing the whole lap, or you do like what I do and I put my favorites folder for the final lap, and that's the only time my favorites music plays. The music in my folder is essentially just like all the hypest vocal themes, and it's all the really just hypest tracks, just for, of course, it's the final lap, it's the finale. But I would prefer if it was like Tekken or like Smash Bros. In Smash Bros, they would have a set list of songs that could play for each track, and you can just change their frequency. It'd be even better if it just lets you change the frequency that every song comes up on every track. But as that would be like an overhaul of the entire system, I think it's more reasonable to ask them to just allow us to have multiple favorites folders. I am very serious and very particular about my music and when I have things play. I have like over 140 playlists on Spotify. If you at least let me have multiple folders, then okay, I'll have a folder for the first lap, a folder for the second lap, and then a folder for the third lap. Because then I would at least be able to have the music crescendo a little bit in the intensity. Add a toggle for stages that don't get affected by the jukebox. Like I love Wonder Museum. I wouldn't ever want any song to play during Wonder Museum, but I don't really care for Urban Canyon. So I would love to like exclude Wonder Museum from any jukebox alteration and just have my jukebox play during Urban Canyon. I feel like there's so many different little additions you can make to it to make it more customizable without revamping the entire system. Please make changes to the jukebox. But finally, let's go into gameplay and balance. I said I wouldn't bring up any old stuff, but something I lightly touched on was just the collisions, and how if you go into the wall, how you'd be like bumping and grating, and if you make a bad turn, sometimes it doesn't even flip people around. And it's also noticeable like when you're flying. This is probably the jankiest thing in this game, and I'd be sad to see this game get like a year of patches and they never addressed the collision. In most racing games, it would kill a lot of your speed or even bring you to a stop, but this game is trying to keep you going ahead. Okay, I understand that philosophy, but it don't really look good or feel good. But at the end of the day, I think that needs to be cleaned up. But now let's go into the most controversial aspect of the game, the gadgets and the item balance. Before the game really came out, I was confident that bagging was not going to be that big of a problem, because on paper, even though the game is very chaotic and it seems like a lot of items are really strong, they're really not when you compare them to Mario Kart. If you look at my channel, I made a video about how to fix the bagging problem in Mario Kart World. But when you look at items like the slime versus the lightning bolt, and if you don't know, the slime takes away all your items and hits everybody's on screen, so it kind of functions like Mario Kart 8 lightning bolt. But it's weaker, because you can't react to Mario Kart's lightning bolt, and the slime doesn't slow you down as much. Not only that, but because of the Dark Chow, you can predict slime in some cases, because if the Dark Chow comes out of a portal, then the next portal is going to be slime. That is, if you're not at first and second place. Or like the Boost Wisp, the max you can get is 3 from a box, but in Mario Kart, you can get a golden mushroom. One aspect that is weaker is of course the defense, because you can't hold items behind your back. But front running still looked really strong. And from what I played, it was really strong. Although bagging is a viable strategy, that front running was still clearly the strongest. But what I did not account for are these gadgets, bruh. Bro, some of these combos are just diabolical. These fools have the 3 item up gadget, then they'll use the wisp up gadget, and then they will have that gadget so they can't get their item stolen from them. Or they will use the item rotate gadget that lets you choose which item you use. There's all sorts of kind of crazy mess they be doing, but it is absolutely insane. That's what them fools be saying about the top level. That yes, you can still front run, but fools will be consistently bagging, and it's very powerful. I'm of course of the opinion that bagging should be like zoners in a fighting game. It's okay to make a good zoning character, but the meta of the game should not be defined by zoners. Zoners should always be a trickster archetype, or like a side archetype, or like a mid tier, or someone who you can pull out. If you got hella top tiers that's zoners in a fighting game, that mug is toxic. So what should be done about bagging? Well, I think a lot of these gadgets need to be adjusted. This 3 item gadget only taking up 2 spots on the gadget plate? Nah, you need to get bumped up to 3. Wisp up, my boy? Nah, you gotta get bumped up to 2. There are some drift builds that use the wisp up just because you want to get that boost wisp if you're front running for shortcuts, but it's a small price you have to pay. Additionally, I always felt like an issue with the items is also just the fact that the item's respawn rate is different offline. When you're online, almost everybody gets an item, no matter what. So I feel like that'd be something that would reduce some of the chaos and give less chances to get good items in the back. You could argue that the item placement needs to be adjusted as well. Like a lot of these item placements that's like right before that very end stretch of the race. Even the idea of the dual item boxes coming into the last race as well, making the last lap more chaotic by default. Another aspect of the balance that's been criticized is also the slipstream. The range that slipstream activates is actually pretty strong. And so like fools in the back, if they're holding onto items for a long time, they don't really get punished that severely for not using them because slipstream helps them stay up with everybody. Especially when you use a slipstream gadgets with the rings or like the extended slipstream gadgets. I think just vanilla slipstream might be a bit too strong. But besides slipstream, I think I definitely would want to see a nerf to some item. One reason why I was hesitant against that at first, for example, the drill wisp and its equivalent, the bullet bill. One, when you compare them, the bullet wisp seems to last typically as long as you would expect a bullet wisp to last. And there are even some points where I would think the drill wisp was even slower than a bullet wisp on average. However, I started to realize something, that the tracks in Racing Crossworlds are on average shorter than the Mario Kart tracks. So for example, imagine you have a bullet bill last for 5 seconds and you have a drill wisp last for 5 seconds. And let's just say they're going at the same speed. On paper, it seems like, oh, well, since it's not busted in Mario Kart, that means it's not busted in Crossworlds. But because the tracks are shorter in Crossworlds, a drill wisp lasting for 5 seconds gives you way more value than a bullet bill lasting for 5 seconds in Mario Kart. It's the same with the monster truck. So I think monster truck and drill wisp needs a time reduction. I also think the laser wisp, although it's really cool that if you use it during a shortcut, if you do it on a certain turn, you can get that extension. I think they gotta nerf that a little bit. I would even be happier if they just reduced the length of it, like how far you go. I would be cool with that. I think if you implemented some combination of those changes, I think it would make races more dynamic and nerf bagging. Of course, you can watch my Mario Kart bagging video and you can implement some of those changes I recommended for that game too. And finally, for the miscellaneous, can y'all please officially put what these different vehicle types do in this game? Like, can we have a clear, defined list of what power does? Because it's like a group of 3 or 4 aspects of the power type vehicles that I always hear, but I never ever hear the same consistent group of them. I always hear like 2 of them at a time. But that's everything I would love to see in a patch for Crossworlds. I know that's honestly a lot, but if all of these changes could be implemented just as time keeps going on, I think this game would get closer and closer to that 10. Oh, and how can I forget the huge elephant in the room I forgot to mention? Dog, get them fools back in the studio. I know y'all made hella bread off this game, bro. Get the boy Roger in the studio, get Joker's voice actor in the studio, get all these fools in here and put these voices in this goddamn game. Y'all better stop playing around. I'm not even messing with you. Like, dog, stop being stingy, Sega. Renegotiate these contracts. Stop playing. For you make me talk ugly. Half of these DLC characters don't even talk anyway. Like, stop being greedy. But that's all I can really think of. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed, subscribe to the boy BeastMD. I have some really fire content planned. 2 videos that are currently underway, as well as stuff cooking on a side channel too. Some anime video essays, and my first playthroughs of Unleashed and the Sonic Secret Rings remake going on over there as well. Let me know if there's anything I missed, or if you think there are other ways to undertake these issues. Y'all stay blessed. Peace.